Assalamualaikum and good day to my lecturer, Dr. Zuhaini alias and also my fellow friend. My name is Muhammad Adib bin Muhammad Azli. I'm from Group 2 and today I want present about pieces the impact of COVID-19 and the unemployment rate in the industry food service in Shah Alam. Next, the first part is introduction. It is well known that the outbreak of COVID-19, which was the first detected in Wuhan, China, shocked the entire world at the end of 2019 and the growing COVID-19 epidemic crisis, which has impacted Malaysia as compelled the government to issue a movement control order MCO as a precautionary measure to prevent the COVID-19 pandemic change from spreading further. The spread of the COVID-19 epidemic has not only crippled the economy in Malaysia but around the world. Many workers have been ordered to take up the year for several months pay cut of between 20 to 30% and the some workers face the problem of job uncertainty when companies cease their operation. This also caused the workforce to experience retention problem and as a result the unemployment rate increased. Sources Sinar Harian 2020, unemployment is defined as a state in which a person belongs to a workplace group on and wish to work but has not yet found one. Unemployment is the caused by mismatch between the supply of labor and the demand of labor. The statistic of negative impact of COVID-19 on the labor market are expected to rise further as a result of ongoing COVID-19 epidemic. Studies have found the impact of the COVID-19 implement in the country is the impact on the employment sector, especially in business sector. This is because many employment sector had to be closed in an effect to help the government curb the spread of the COVID-19 epidemic from continuing to spread in the community. Most of business operation, private organization as well as the government will shut down immediately. In fact, the closure of business during COVID-19 has caused many companies to be unable to expand to cover expense, including employee salaries, causing companies to lay off employees. However, more research need to be conducted to ascertain the impact of COVID-19 and unemployment rate in the food service industry. Next part is problem statement. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit Malaysia at January 2020, it has had hard implications for the country economy and development. The employment sector is among the sectors affected by the increase in unemployment in the first quarter of 3.9% compared to 3.3% in 2019. Sources Energy Statistic Report Labor 2020. In fact, the statistical data also found that the number of unemployed has increased to 610,000 people compared to 531,000 people in the same month of 2019. The high unemployment rate in March 2020 is influenced by the negative impact of Movement Control Order (MCO) on the labour market. These statistics are estimated to continue to increase following the spread of the COVID-19 epidemic, which has not yet subsided. In addition, many workers experience unemployment due to employment sector impact when MCO was implemented. But however, the service industry in Malaysia has given the green light to operate under certain conditions and regulations set by the National Security Council (NSC), as it is recognized as an important sector for providing daily food supply stock requirement during the period of the Movement Control Order (MCO). Although the sector can operate as usual, but there are obstacles faced by this sector, especially those involving problems in getting customers. Customer is an individual or business that purchase goods and service, and customers are important because they direct revenue to something for business. The frequency of customer attending sales stall and the restaurant and so on throughout COVID-19 has decreased, started a new norm of life. Customers are only allowed to buy and take away the food and are not allowed to eat on the premise and so on. In addition, the limit of community movement are also limited by the implementation of the 20-hour period given to buy daily necessities or operating business, as well as the income crisis faced by them has caused the presence of customers in food premise is decreasing. This has made it difficult for food service owner and operator to generate daily income. With an unpredictable situation of daily COVID-19 infection case, as well as the implementation of the MCO period being too long, has prompted a number of APEC food service operators to take the approach of reducing the number of existing employers to cover the daily expenses of food premise owner, as well as some premise owner closing down business due to unwilling to bear the burden in terms of monthly payment arrears, business loan, and other dependent costs. Indirectly, there has been an increase in unemployment effect from from the closing down of business and bankruptcy premise in the food service sector. That's all.
Hi, my name is Alif and I will be presenting about research objective. So the first objective is to identify the impact of MCO and the factors that affect unemployment rate in the food service in Shah. So this research objective can assist employees in increasing the awareness on effect of MCO towards food service industry, as the MCO had a significant impact on a person's career. So the second objective is to describe the relationship between saving and the factors that affect unemployment rate in the food service in Shah Alam, and this objective will help them to realize whether the awareness developed in this study would be useful to them in their knowledge. It will encourage them to prepare in any course. This study can help the workers in food service industry to prepare the economic performance and social life in facing unemployment due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So next is research question. So the first question in this research is, what is the relationship between MCO and the factors that affect unemployment rate in the food service in Shah Alam? That is the first one, and the second one is, What is the relationship between saving and the factors that affect unemployment rate in the food service in Shah Alam? And lastly, what is the relationship between the job performance and the factors that affect unemployment rate in the food service in Shah Alam? Okay, next is the development of research hypothesis. There are many previous studies that discuss the factors that make unemployment in the private sector, such as food industry. Among the factors that can influence and suggested in one of the previous studies are job performance factors, MCO factors, and saving factors. So here are some hypotheses that will be tested and discussed in this whole study accordingly. So the first hypothesis is there is a positive relationship between MCO factors and unemployment rate in the food industry. So the second hypothesis is there is a positive relationship between saving factors and unemployment rate in the food service industry. And lastly, the third hypothesis is there is a positive relationship between job performance and unemployment rate in the food service industry.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Shah and I'm going to present about literature review. In this chapter, we'll be focusing on dependent variable DV and independent variable. Dependent variable is variable which may be predicted, explained and is assumed to be main theme of research activity in which it represent the problem, whereas IV is predicted or explained and variation in the DV. In addition, the conceptual framework of research and the hypothesis of this study will be stated on the end of this chapter. Literature review for this chapter present of impact COVID-19 and the employment rate in food service industry at Shah Alam. The literature review is conducted to the further understand the term, definition and the characteristic of the research topic. Furthermore, with adopted and modified conceptual framework that graphically summarize the state, hypothesis and the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable as well. In this study, the independent variable IV have three variables where MCO, saving and job performance, while unemployment are the dependent variable or DV. The independent variable and dependent variable has a relationship on the factor that impact of COVID-19 and the unemployment rate in the food service industry in Shah Alam. In this research, the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable is the important key on how to attract people to understand what they need to know in order to avoid unemployment during COVID-19. It will help to analyze the research from the variable provided. We move to dependent variable. Unemployment is defined as a situation in which people are willing and able to work but unable to secure any job. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the unemployment rate in Malaysia is rising with the expectation that 2 million people will lose their jobs if no further action is taken. In the next 2 decades, the situation is expected to worsen by any more than 54% of all jobs in Malaysia could be at high risk of being replaced by technology. Hence, graduates should look at this issue as an opportunity for them to uplift their skills and knowledge in line with future industrial needs, as the future is more towards the gig economy. More focus should be given to the professional works residing in the area. Among the jobs that will be highly demanding in 2020 are data analysis, software development and application developers. These jobs are also widely available to freelancers in the gig platform such as freelancer.com and LinkedIn. It is up to the graduate whether to apply for the job or not. For sure, they need to equip themselves with relevant skills prior to inquiring about the job. It is because the gig works posts in the online platform are being eyed by millions of freelancers worldwide who have specific skills needed. We move to independent variable number one, MCO. According to the journal, in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic, the labour market is not performing well. Even though there is a huge supply of labours, the demand for labour is interrupted. Besides, the world is changing towards the use of technologies to replace repeated tasks. Hence, the organizational factors are also interrupted. Therefore, in order to get employed, it lies to the shoulder of the job seeker themselves whether to remain unemployed or to upgrade their skills. It goes to their personality whether to be proactive or not in the challenging environment. Proactive graduate would find it easy to get freelancing job if they are willing to venture into new skills, into new things and upgrade their skills. By becoming proactive, they force themselves to be more innovative in thinking of new businesses ideas that can open up more job opportunity to many. In opposite, graduate that have a static mindset might keep asking for jobs from the public or private sector. Another independent variable is saving. According to journals, it says company don't have enough money to pay workers salary because the company or industry need to shut down by the government. By having saving, they can live normally. There are two underlying drivers. The first and more obvious one is the huge drop in demand following the lockdown. This is a well understood Keynesian type of unemployment, but much bigger and quicker than anything that we have experienced before. You shut down a market down, demand dropped to very low levels and job closed down to save firm their costs. Those expecting to restart quickly and wish to restart without having no go through an expensive process of rehiring workers join the furlough scheme. Others who believe the recession would be longer lasting dismiss or as furlough scheme went down are preparing to dismiss. This may affect to the workers because the company can pay the workers salaries. Then the workers sometimes will be changed with the robot in their production. Our last independent variable is job performance. An employee terminated due to poor job performance sound conclusive that the employee failed to meet specific job requirement. However, there are many reasons an employee has a poor performance record. Employers and terminated employee can learn from the issue and use the information to prevent such issues from recurring in the future. The issue is poor job performance due to lack of job skill may be a red flag then that a poor hiring choice was made. It could be the employee was provided proper training but didn't have an aptitude for the job or advancement in the job that required new skills. Some companies may decide to stop operation and close down the business. This is a drastic measure and can be for many reasons, such as no longer able to compete in the marketplace, supplier issues, business mismanagement, natural disaster, or other causes. One of the factors that influence on employment is compensation. According to Monday 2008, payment is compensation for employees' services for the work they provide to the company. The amount can not only affect motivation, it can also affect job performance, job satisfaction, and performance. employee performance can increase along with the increase in employee compensation. The importance of this compensation can also see from several ways. Next, we move to development of research hypotheses. There are many previous studies that discuss the factors that make unemployment in the private sector, such as food industry. Among the factors that can influence and suggested in one the previous study are MCO factors, saving factors, and performance factors. The hypotheses indicated below will be tested and discussed in this whole study accordingly. Hypothesis number one, there is positive relation between MCO factors and unemployment factors in the private sector, such as food industry. Hypothesis number two, there is a positive relationship between saving factors and unemployment factors in the private sector, such as the food industry. And hypothesis number three, there is a positive relationship between job performance and unemployment factors in the private sector, such as the food industry. Last but not least, development of research framework. The framework of study blend with tangible theories. A perfect framework highlight and bold up the important variable in the situation. Based on this research, the identified variable become component of the theoretical framework, with each independent variable IV and dependent variable DV. Theoretical framework is similar to the conceptual framework, but can be considered a stronger tool because it incorporates theory relevant to the study and methodological reviews focus on strength and weakness of the method section in the research relevant to the study. The theoretical frame is like a theory that suggests a possible relationship between two or more variables. A theoretical framework interchangeably known as model. The construct theory framework of study considers three main factors that contribute the why private sector workers experience unemployment. The three factors are MCO, saving, and job performance. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Muhammad Firas and I will present about the methodology. Okay. Firstly, research problem. The high unemployment rate in March 2020 is influenced by the negative impact of movement control order (MCO) on the labour market. We choose our respondent based on certain characteristics such as a private worker that working in food service and they work in Shah. These research were conducted as in giving an understanding in the impact of COVID-19 and the unemployment rate in the food service industry at Shah. People are suffering by losing their job effect from the COVID-19 pandemic. Quantitative method was used to analyze the data. The data is self-collect method. We use Google Form to collect the data for the research and we don't use the secondary data. Next is about method of data collection. The sampling method used was convenient sampling method because of the ability and willingness of the respondent. The material used include the informed consent and Google Form that were distributed to the participant. The procedure are followed as link will be split. Then the participant need to answer the question in online survey, and lastly the data will be analyzed. The first survey consists of 5 multiple choice questions and 25 questions with a 5-point Likert scale response. The aim was to conduct the survey with 100 respondents that work in the food service industry at Shah Alam. Start from 1 to 5 May 1 until 5 May 2021. A respondent was defined by share this questionnaire in the social media as our friends or family that they work in the food service industry. Participant Participants were given time to fill the survey anonymously, and 111 participants respond. Because of the all survey were fully complete, the 111 survey results were included in the analysis. Next is method of analysis. One way ANOVA was used in analyzing the data to see the significant difference between the variable. Quantitative data preparation software use statistical method. Before analysis, the data set was checked for missing data. The data was analyzed using statistical software SPSS. The reliability test was used in order to check the level of the reliability of the questionnaire. A pair t-test was conducted to test the first hypothesis. Last is evaluate and justify methodological choice. We use this questionnaire method as it can be called on a numerical scale, and SPSS is one of the approach in analyzing the quantitative data. Other methods are not suitable to use in this research because the result will be much more subjective in terms of variation of the answer. This study may minimize the research gap as the research focus on the people who are affected and the specific assessment which may measure what is the factor which contribute in unemployment rate in food service industry at Shah Alam. It is worth that the study because it gives a clear image and understanding towards the community regarding the impact of COVID-19. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Baginda Abdul Bimbang University FND. So I will present on behalf of Chapter 5, which is discussion and conclusion. Okay, so next. Okay, and next overview. Okay, so based on this Chapter 5 summarizes the significant findings, discusses the result, discusses the research substantial implication, discusses the research limitation, and makes recommendation for a further study. Okay, the finding reported in chapter 4 will be reviewed in this chapter concerning the chapter 1 objectives and questions. So finally, a suggestion are made for the future investigation. Okay, so next on the summary of findings. So the first hypothesis, which is there is a positive relationship between MCO and the unemployment rate in the food industry at Shah Alam, because it shows that a moderate correlation, uh, which is 0.397 with a significant level of 0.01. So thus we accepted. And then the second hypothesis, which is there is a positive relationship between saving and the unemployment rate in the food industry at Shah Alam, which is it show a strong correlation, which is the Pearson correlation is at 0.998 with a significant level of 0.01. So thus we accept. So thus it is accepted. Okay, next. Okay, so the hypothesis 3, which is there is a positive relationship between job performance and unemployment rate in the food service in Shah Alam, as the job performance shows a strong correlation also, which is the Pearson correlation is at 0.652 with a significant level of 0.01. So thus we accept it. And hypothesis 4, which is there is a no significant difference between male and female towards the unemployment in the food industry, because the t-test value of uh, 0.513, which show there is no significant relationship between gender and the unemployment rate in the food service industry, because the p-value is above 0.05. Okay, so next. Okay, hypothesis 5, which is there is no significant differences between age towards the unemployment in food industry. Shah Alam, because the ANOVA p-value shows the value of 0.079, which is there is no significant differences relationship between age and the unemployment rate in food service industry at Shah Alam, because the p-value is also above 0.05. Okay, so next, the hypothesis 6, which to identify which of the following independent variables, MCO, which is MCO, saving, and job performance, that has most significant towards unemployment rate in food industry at Shah Alam. So thus the result shows that the MCO is the most significant towards unemployment rate in food service industry at Shah Alam, as coefficient table shows that the beta weight for independent variable 1, which is 0.410, that is the highest coefficient to the unemployment rate, and also the significant level is below than 0.05. Okay, next. Okay, so next, the limitation of the research. Okay, so firstly, the time constraint for this research to complete within 4 weeks. So therefore, the research findings might not properly examined. And secondly, the lack of knowledge, where the researchers are not familiar and need more time to learn and refer to the lecturer for getting more guidance to complete the research. And thirdly, the number of respondents involved to complete the analysis. So basically, our respondents involved 111. So I believe if the number of if the number respondent can be increased, it will show a greater result. And lastly, the limited sample size to represent the whole population of the food industry, inshallah. So the sample size, so the small sample size has caused the result to be limited, and it might fail to represent high and mighty accuracy of gratifying results needed for this study. Okay, Okay, the recommendation for a future research. So, a future researchers doing a similar survey should extend the study period longer than we did, in order to attain more replies, which is more bigger sample size, that will provide a fuller picture impact of COVID-19 to the unemployment rate. And next, the future researchers also can refer the study to expand their own ideas based on the related topic about MCO, COVID-19, and the unemployment rates. And this also will help the awareness develop, would be useful to them in their knowledge, and can also help workers in the food service industry to prepare themselves in terms of the economic, the performance, and the social life in facing the unemployment due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And lastly, the future researchers can use this research as their main references to answer any problem statement that related about other impact that affected unemployment during COVID-19. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.